What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Dev Talks with your host Travian, where we talk about everything engineering and technology wise. This video, we're going to be talking about another EV brand. Got a few of them coming up because of some new news. BYD is going through some pricing troubles, it seems. So we're going to dive into this. Without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out with the algorithm. I really appreciate it. And let's just dive right in.
Potential price cuts. What level are we talking about here, and what does this mean for both the Chinese EV market and the global?
Well, look, even BYD with its advantages in supply chain and battery technology, they're not immune to these price wars. In fact, they've probably been driving it at certain points. All the companies there are going for market share, and there's sort of a Darwinian play going on in China, where the government does absorb losses or helps a lot of these companies who keep cutting their prices. Help keeps them afloat, but this doesn't go on forever, and the Chinese government knows that over time it's going to winnow down to a few players. Even with that, even with all this government subsidy and support that these companies get, BYD's got to maintain their profit margins. They're one of the few Chinese EV makers that's actually making money, so they're leaning on their suppliers to do it, to get a little bit more firepower to keep dropping prices. We saw Tesla drop prices just about a week ago. They offered a special deal in China for the Model Y. It's a temporary deal, but that's just part of the game over there. Everybody is cutting prices and in many cases losing money to get market share, and that's why the Western auto companies have been leaving, because they don't want to play that game.
David, there's a great.
So that's actually insane how when I first covered BYD, they said the Chinese government helps a lot for them and like all the other EV companies. And if a lot of them are not making money and they're just cutting on prices, it makes sense why a lot of Western companies would not want to go and deal with that market. They don't want to deal with that. And deal with all that. You already not gonna make money out there. And even they said Tesla, it's temporarily and stuff. I'm really curious because it seems like in China, the two companies that are really going to go head to head with these EV stuff is Tesla and BYD. And who knows what this price war can turn out into, but hey, it can lead to, like, if you're home, the country, they would have to be really widespread. And well, BYD already is widespread globally, and a lot of countries already adopted their vehicles. But if you can't sell vehicles in your own country because of how cheap you're going to have to make them, I wonder how much of an issue and a problem that's going to be. And I wonder how much their government is going to help them with these price changes as well, too. I'm really curious on that.
Function on the Bloomberg that we used a lot during the first Trump administration, ECTR Go, maps global trade. And when the Trump tariffs were announced on, Truth Social the other day, I noted that the three countries that he called out, Mexico, Canada, and China, are our biggest trading partners. And that's in total trade. But of course, in your industry, even bigger, right? Not China so much yet, but Canada and Mexico are where a lot of the biggest factories are for General Motors, for Ford, for Stellantis. How is this next administration, this new Trump administration, going to affect the companies that you cover most?
Look, you're talking about 2.3 million cars coming into the U.S. from Mexico last year, and that's a pretty good annualized number, plus a lot of parts that go back and forth across the border, and that doesn't count Canada. So look, there's a ton of trade here. If Trump came good on these threats to levy bigger tariffs, he'd basically be tearing up USMCA, which was his version of NAFTA anyways. You are talking about more inflation in car prices, period. The car companies will try to pass on any increases to consumers, and if they don't, their margins erode. So it's not good for them if all of this comes to pass. And car companies, they can't just find a new source of parts in the U.S. overnight. It takes a couple of years to build plants and reroute supply chains. So look, it would have a massive ripple effect just on the 2.3 million vehicles coming out of Mexico alone. And then you're talking about all the parts flow and so forth. And yeah, it's a huge deal if he's going to really go that big. However, he's made threats like that in the past and not come through on them. So we'll see.
I want.
as a fun fact, also, before we finish the rest of this, real quick, BYD actually started a lot of plants. They built a lot of plants globally, actually, but one of the plants that they were making was in Mexico, and I believe they decided on not building another one only because Trump got elected, but and they didn't want to deal with the pricing increase. And you got to think about it, right? Like, if you they're already going through pricing wars in China and stuff, imagine how bad it's gonna get it later down the road as time goes on. And do these companies want to deal with something like that in specific countries because of how your margins already are? And note, if your cars get, I don't want to say if a car gets too expensive, will people stop buying them? Because there's always somebody who's going to go out and purchase it, but sales might go down. They might try to start looking for something more affordable. And especially for EVs, I still am on the vote for only leasing them. I will not put myself into buying an EV. No, no. I feel like they have nowhere near been out long enough. I don't care if it's Tesla. I don't care if it's BYD. I don't care what EV it is. I will not put myself in paying for an EV unless I see track records of these cars surviving around a long time. It has to be worth the investment. I don't want to put so much extra money into it. I already know how much it is putting in money into the cars that we have nowadays. And I just can't trust buying one. Leasing one, I can do. They have some. It's another reason on why leasing EVs is way to go is because EVs update so much year after year. This isn't like you're just getting some regular gas Honda, right? And then the next year it just looks a little bit different, or the body style changes, or there's just very slight tweaks to maybe the next car. It's pretty much the same thing. EVs dramatically change, especially with software and everything and what's being used in them from what it seems these past few years. So that's definitely something to look out for. And I just don't think it's at a point yet where you could just dive in and buy one. So yeah.
I wonder, David, how this then affects the auto workers. And I know you cover the business of cars, not the politics of Michigan, but a lot of those factory floor workers voted for Donald Trump, pushed him over the edge in that swing state. And if these tariffs drive up the prices of those vehicles, aren't they going to have a harder time making money, keeping jobs?
Now, look, sales go down, workers' jobs are more at risk. And, that is a big threat to those workers. For a long time, though, they've just worried about watching their jobs go overseas. And Trump became their hero, promising to do that. And we do have huge tariffs that keep a lot of cars coming in from China. And, there were some things in USMCA, like mandating 40% of the parts content of a vehicle in order to get the cheaper tariff coming into the US from Mexico. What that basically said was the parts had to come from Canada or the United States. That did probably stop the flow of some jobs from Canada and the US into Mexico. So there are some things that Trump has delivered for them. I think there are other reasons that union workers have voted for Trump. A lot of them are socially conservative, so they're more in tune with his platform. But he has delivered in some ways on this, but look, there are a lot of unintended consequences for auto workers if prices go sky high because of tariffs. Absolutely.
So yeah, that's about it for BYD, I guess. I'm really more or less curious about what kind of pricing BYD is facing. Let me see real quick. Let's see. They didn't really give any information on how bad BYD was struggling. That's really what I wanted to see. Because their cars, from what I already knew, their pricing, from what I already knew, was already supposed to be really conservative and like low and keep all those pricing down. But I don't I don't see anything regarding how much if it is. I guess it's still low. They're keeping it all low key right now, but we're getting a little bit of heads up news, I guess. It's set. It doesn't say it's increasing by how much. I don't see anything. It's exactly right now on how much they're going down in price and all of that. But without further ado, let me know what you guys do think. Do you guys think that BYD is going to be able to survive a price war all around the country? Not even just this country, China, United States, anywhere out there. I don't know how it's being affected in all those other countries, but do you think they'll perform well in the States? How do you think it'll affect all our other EV companies or other car companies? And then how do you think Tesla is going to match up against them? I've been covering them for a while. Tesla is still going to be around. There's going to be a market for it. Like Tesla will, depending on where their pricing and everything is going to be, if BYD is overall the budget EV, Tesla is going to be right above it. There's going to be people who want to have those Tesla vehicles. Why they want them, who knows? But that's where it's probably going to end up going at the end of the day. Without further ado, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out the algorithm so much. Really grateful for everybody sticking around. To see more videos like this, just click one of them that pops up right now. And without further ado, peace. See you next time.